Welcome to Little Story Box.
This is the letter A. Sound of the letter A. Ah. Point and say. Ah, ah, alligator. Ah, ah, alligator. Ah, ah, apple. Ah, ah, apple. Ah, ah, axe. Ah, ah, axe. Ah, ah, ant. Ah, ah, ant. This is the letter B. Sound of the letter B. B. Point and say. B, b, bear. B, b, bear. B, b, bird. B, b, bird. B, b, bus. B, b, bus. B, b, boat. B, b, boat. This is the letter C. Sound of the letter C. K. Point and say. Cat. Cat. Car. Car. Cake. Cake. Candy. Candy. This is the letter D. Sound of the letter D. D. Point and say. D, d, dog. D, d, dog. D, d, duck. D, d, duck. D, d, doll. D, d, doll. D, d, door. D, d, door. This is the letter E. Sound of the letter E. Eh. Point and say. Eh, eh, elephant. Eh, eh, elephant. Eh, eh, egg. Eh, eh, egg. Eh, eh, elf. Eh, eh, elf. Eh, eh, elk. Eh, eh, elk. This is the letter F. Sound of the letter F. Point and say. Fish. Fish. Frog. Frog. Flag. Flag. Flower. Flower. This is the letter G. Sound of the letter G. G. Point and say. G, g, goose. G, g, goose. G, g, goat. G, g, goat. G, g, gift. G, g, gift. G, g, grass. G, g, grass. This is the letter H. Sound of the letter H. Point and say. Hen. Hen. Horse. Horse. Hat. Hat. House. House. This is the letter I. Sound of the letter I. I. Point and say. I, Indian. I, Indian. I, igloo. I, igloo. I, ink. I, ink. I, infant. I, infant. This is the letter J. Sound of the letter J. J. Point and say. J, j, juice. J, j, juice. J, j, jam. J, j, jam. J, j, jeep. J, j, jeep. J, j, jet. J, j, jet. This is the letter K. Sound of the letter K. K. Point and say. Kite. Kite. Kangaroo. Kangaroo. Key. Key. King. King. This is the letter L. Sound of the letter L. L. Point and say. L, l, lion. L, l, lion. L, l, lamp. L, l, lamp. L, l, leaf. L, l, leaf. L, l, lollipop. L, l, lollipop. This is the letter M. Sound of the letter M. M. Point and say. M, m, moon. M, m, moon. M, m, monkey. M, m, monkey. M, m, milk. M, m, milk. M, m, mouse. M, m, mouse. This is the letter N. Sound of the letter N. N. Point and say. N, n, nurse. N, n, nurse. N, n, nest. N, n, nest. N, n, net. N, n, net. N, n, nose. N, n, nose. This is the letter O. Sound of the letter O. Ah. Point and say. Octopus. Octopus. Ox. Ox. Otter. Otter. Onion. Onion. This is the letter P. Sound of the letter P. P. Point and say. Pig. Pig. Panda. Panda. Pear. Pear. Puppy. Puppy is the letter Q. Sound of the letter Q. Point and say. Queen. Queen. Quilt. Quilt. Quiet. Quiet. Quack. Quack. This is the letter R. Sound of the letter R. R. Point and say. Rabbit. Rabbit. Robot. Robot. Rain. Rain. Rainbow. Rainbow. This is the letter S. Sound of the letter S. Point and say. Sun. Sun. Snake. Snake. Swan. Swan. Seal. Seal. This is the letter T. Sound of the letter T. T. Point and say. Turtle. Turtle. Tiger. Tiger. Truck. Truck. Train. Train. This is the letter U. Sound of the letter U. Point and say. Umbrella. Umbrella. Underwear. Underwear. Upset. Upset. Up. This is the letter V. Sound of the letter V. V. Point and say. Van. Van. Violin. Violin. Vase. Vase. Vest. Vest. This is the letter W. Sound of the letter W. Point and say. Window. Window. Witch. Witch. Watch. Watch. Well. Well. This is the letter X. Sound of the letter X. X. Point and say. Fox. Fox. Box. Box. Ox. Ox. Axe. This is the letter Y. Sound of the letter Y. Y. Point and say. Yo-yo. Yo-yo. Yarn. Yarn. Yellow. Yellow. Yam. Yam. This is the letter Z. Sound of the letter Z. Z. Point and say. Zebra. Zebra. Zoo. Zoo. Zero. Zero. Zipper. Zipper.